All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Today we have Alex Moeller with us. So welcome to the show, man.
What's going on, brother? How's everything?
Very good. Thanks for coming on. So yeah, if you can just start us off a little bit more about you and what you do.
Yeah, so Alex Moeller, born and raised in Quito, Ecuador. Actually, not many people know that about me. Moved here when I was 11 here, meaning Miami, Florida. This is where I essentially grew up. I'm pretty Americanized, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Wi-Fi Money. We're an online-based company, marketing company. We have over 25,000 affiliates that work with us, that promote different offers, from real estate to branding to now this ERC program that we're exploring. But really the concept of Wi-Fi Money is really teaching people how to make money online, right? Like it's okay with having a 9 to 5. It's okay with having offline income, but really being able to take that hustle 24/7 and take your income to the online space, hence Wi-Fi Money.
I love it, man. Okay, so I like to start things off here because I'm always curious. So when you were younger, and I guess with you because it's Wi-Fi Money, so I don't even know the internet. How old are you?
I'm 31.
Oh, okay. We're the same exact age. I'm 31 too.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, like I got my first phone in like, I think it was 7th or 8th grade. So like it was, we kind of, what I think is cool about our age is like, we do slightly remember what it was like before. Like we remember AOL Instant Messenger,
Right.
but we kind of see both sides. So when you were younger, what did you want to be? Like, did you foresee yourself doing anything like this? But there's no way you could have really.
Not even like 6 years ago did I see myself doing this. Like, I always share my story, and when I tell people I don't have the exciting story of like I was living on a friend's couch or I was dead broke. I come from a good family, loving family, always had a roof over my head, always had food on the table. So incredibly blessed in that way. But the reality was that 5 years ago, I was really in my comfort zone, man. Living in Miami, I was working a 9 to 5, making $2,000-3,000 a month, which back then to me, fresh out of college, was like, oh, this is crazy money. And of course, 95% of the money went to partying and going out on the weekends. And Thursday to Monday, just destruction, right? Waking up, oh man, I spent $1,000 last night, like literally a third of the money I was making, and literally have $0 in my account. So it wasn't necessarily that I had a bad upbringing, but I was really in my comfort zone. And to me, that was a scary place to be in, right? Because a lot of people talk about how when you hit rock bottom, it's scary, but when you're in rock bottom, you have one way to go and it's up. Me being in my comfort zone, I knew that if I didn't change, I literally only had one way to go, and it was down. Right. And I already started seeing it in the way that I was feeling, a little depressed, like I couldn't find myself. And that's kind of how I started the whole journey in the social media. Instagram, believe it or not, changed my life, right? I started growing my account. I would literally stay up till 3 a.m, following 400 people. I would wait for them to follow me back, and then I'd unfollow them, right? Some people would hate it. Dude, it would work. Like, no joke, I would do it for like 20 hours every single day. I had no idea why I was doing it, but I told myself, if I can get to 1,000 followers, 5,000, 10,000, something good's going to happen. Because back then, all my quote unquote mentors, the people I looked up to, like Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone and all Gary Vee and all these guys, I'm like, what do they have in common outside of the cars and the luxury? They all have an Instagram following. So it must be good to have an Instagram following. So that's how I started. Long story short, people started reaching out to me. They started asking me, Alex, how did you grow your account? How can I do the same? I remember that day like it was yesterday. I ran home. I made a presentation. It took me like an hour to make a damn PowerPoint presentation, sent it to this girl and told her, hey, I charge $199 a month. And she ended up paying me 3 months in advance. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. I literally quit my job the next day. I thought I was this rock star. I'm making money online. And that's how the whole thing started, man. From her, she referred me clients. All of a sudden I have 100 clients. All of a sudden I have 1,000 clients. And then within a few short years, I went from the $3,000-4,000 I was making to 3-4 million a month, all through my Instagram account, all online.
Dude, people that listen to this know my story, so I won't say it right now, but it is oddly similar to your story. It is so freaking weird. Like once you get once you get that first taste of money online, everything changes.
That's it, bro. It was the first time like I was getting paid. So like I think it was like 3,500 a month with this 9 to 5, and I wouldn't have like I'd be hung over in meetings, like literally on Instagram the entire meeting. I didn't feel good about it. But the moment I got paid $199, I whipped up this presentation. I sent it to this girl. I was nervous, dude. I was nervous to charge her $199, and then she accepted and paid a couple months. I was like, this is it. If I can do this over and over and over and over, I'm going to be making $10,000 a month. And that was my goal back in, what was it, 2017.
Same thing.
Like 10,000 was that number. Like, I'm going to be rich when I have $10,000.
Yes, dude, that's amazing. So, okay. So now it seems you experienced like pretty quick growth. So after this first one, was it, and there's actually a book by this guy named Joey Coleman. It's called Never Lose a Customer Again. And what it's about is a lot of people spend money on marketing budgets, but they don't spend money on like customer experience. And his whole idea is if you actually invest in the customer experience, the marketing in a sense can take care of itself. Now, I want to be clear, you should still do marketing, but your thing grew pretty quickly. Was it really because like you over serviced this girl so well that she told all her friends and it started to, is that how it worked? Or
yeah,
like,
I mean, it was definitely a lot of word of mouth, right? Because you got to consider back then, very different times to today. On Instagram, if you had 10,000 followers, you were famous. Like people would literally look at you differently. And not saying like now the old 10K is now having like 1 million followers because everybody and their mothers has 10,000 followers. But it was so incredible because like this girl in particular, Colombian, I know you're in Colombia. Yeah. Her job, I think she was a reporter. They literally did not hire her and told her straight up that it was because she didn't have a social media presence. So all of a sudden I grew her account, and it wasn't crazy back then. I grew it like maybe 1,000 followers the first month, 2,000 next month. And then dude, within 45 days, the girl gets hired. And she's like calling me excited, like, Alex, whatever you did, the followers, I just got my dream job because of it. So then she told her friends, but not only that, of course, I was being incredibly aggressive. Like that strategy of following 500 people a day. Now I was DMing, no joke, like 70, 100 people a day. Like, hey, nice profile. Like I still get messages from people that are like, hey, congrats on your success. And I scroll up and it's like 2018. It's me setting them the copy paste like, hey, you have a nice profile. I think I can grow it. Like I was just feeling like a fucking maniac, dude, like nonstop.
Yeah. And see, that's what I love to hear. Cause I think, and at the end of the day, look, all this other stuff can work. Facebook ads, funnels, all of it works. But there's nothing just like numbers, right? Like meaning like similar to you when I was younger, and we still do it today. We do a lot of like website contact form reach outs, LinkedIn messages, cold email, and we do it at scales. You know, we're talking like hundreds of thousands to 1 million, like a week, like that many reach outs and a whole team doing all these calls. And like, it's not that difficult in the sense of like the how. It's more just like most people aren't willing to do the work. Right.
It's just a numbers game. That's all it is. Like back then, I always loved to break it down because I would tell people like I was connecting with 20 people an hour. This is before Instagram would limit you to send messages. I was, great timing. Yep. 20 people an hour, 20 hours a day. I'm reaching out to 400 plus people a day. Do that for 365 days a year. Do that for 2 years, now 5 years. The amount of relationships, so we're talking hundreds of thousands of people that I either connected with or they followed me or I built some sort of a relationship. And of course, none of that really translated into business right away. But then all of a sudden I look back on, having months where make millions of dollars. I'm like, how did I make that money? And it's literally someone that paid me that I DM'd back in 2018. So all those people, all those numbers just kept compounding. And then it comes full circle for them either adding value to your life or paying you for your services.
100%, man. And it's, I think the other hard part for people is that delayed gratification, right? Like they go right for the close right away. And it's like, nah, dude, it's really about building a relationship. And then 3-6 months later or years later, they become a client, and you got to be willing to just be able to wait, to have some patience with it. But yeah, similar to you with LinkedIn, because now with LinkedIn, there's like limits to how much messages you can send. Right. But years ago there wasn't. And kind of the way around that, though, website contact forms, and there's AIs and stuff. And, you know, we don't need to get so in the weeds, but just know that's a little way that you can get around having a limit of sending messages. So now you run a company called Wi-Fi Money. Is there any like co-founders, or is it just you running it?
Yeah, in my business partner, Chris Frederick, Chris Thunder on Instagram, we're 50-50 business partners. And he was really the individual that took me to the next level, because I remember, I finally hit my goal. I'm making the $10,000 a month, which then I'm like, fuck this, I need to make 100, right? I thought it was gonna be my big moment, but it was really like, no, now I got to do more. But back then I was doing the whole follow strategy. I had my buddy built a software that was doing it for people automatically. I wake up one day and the software is gone. Like I literally broke Instagram. Like I had thousands of clients that were doing thousands of interactions every single minute, like liking and following. And obviously Instagram hated that. So they shut down the software. And then I'm like, what am I going to do? And my second client, Corey Howell, shout out to you if you're listening to this guy changed my life, because he was a pro surfer. My second client, he connects me. He's like, hey, Alex, you got to connect with this guy, Chris. And I was like, I almost didn't take the call, but I hop on the call with Chris. And I think I had maybe like 12 or 13,000 followers. And Chris was like, Alex, what's your goal on Instagram? And I'm like, I thought I was the man on Instagram, right? Like, oh, I've got all these clients. And he was like, Alex, what if I could double your account in 24 hours? And I'm like, yeah, right, man. Like, I have all the strategies. There's no way you can do that. And he was like, no, I'm serious. These are real followers. I do them through these viral campaigns that I created. Let's test it out. So I was like, screw it. Let me see if this works. And sure enough, pay the guy, my account doubles. Like it took me almost a year to get 12,000 followers. And then it took me 24 hours to double it to 25,000 followers. So I'm like, holy shit, bro, how did you do that? So he shows me the whole mechanism. Everybody listening, and probably you guys probably heard about the loop giveaways, and you see Kim Kardashian giving away bags. So my business partner Chris actually invented that whole method, and he taught me it. And I was like, I brought that back to all my clients, and I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm not using the software anymore, but what if I could grow you 10, 15,000? And it was like I was selling drugs, dude. People would pay $1,500, and then 2 days later, I need to grow more and more and more and more. And that's really when my income exploded, like $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month in a few months, just because now I had this way to really explode people on social media.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. And like, it is something that just like with like what we do is books and stuff. So it's similar in the sense that when somebody gets a bunch of followers, other people see it and they share it with people everywhere. So then people start asking, how'd you do it? And your business kind of funnels into itself, right? Similar with a book, when somebody, and I'm sure you have a bunch of friends, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a book even, but that are best-selling authors. When they become a best-selling author, they tell everyone they know. And then people are like, how'd you do it? And then like, oh, well, this company helped me. So it kind of like markets itself in a sense. Okay. So you started with that, and do you guys still offer Instagram services? Is that still part of it?
So like, it's just, in business, it's all about trends, right? So we just saw that trend of social media. A lot of people started coming in, now everybody and their mothers, you see every entrepreneur like, oh, branding expert. Like, we really started that movement, believe it or not. Everybody, instead of working with us, some worked with us, some try to copy us. They started doing their own campaigns. The campaigns weren't performing, weren't delivering the numbers. Then, all these like Brazilian campaigns came in and Russian campaigns came in and kind of just destroyed the market. So to answer your question, yeah, we still offer it. We work with a lot of high level people, some I can't even say their names, but they were the people that I looked up to before I started, which was pretty crazy. Now we're growing their Instagram accounts. So we do it at a very high level with high net worth individuals that want to grow to 5 million followers, 10 million followers, and are willing to pay big retainers. But not anymore, not like with the Colombian girl that wanted to pay $200, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's just too time consuming to teach people, but
for sure.
it really was the roots of the business, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. And then you said there's two other, you said something about ERC, and then I think there was one other thing. There's two
Yeah,
more.
our main business right now. So, you know, we really transitioned our business model to a completely free model, right? So in the past, charging people, charging up front, which there's nothing wrong with doing that, but you got to be real, and you probably understand this. The moment someone pays you a dime, all of a sudden they think that they own you, basically, right? You know, I've
Yeah,
had clients pay $1,500, and then for some reason, you know, the campaign goes beautifully, but then they find one follower that had one blank picture, and they're like, "Oh, you sold me fake followers. Oh, you scam me. Oh, I want my money back. Oh, I want a refund." Right. And it's just very time consuming to sit there, because I'm a very customer, like you mentioned, customer experience, customer service. I'm always there. I'm responding, but it was just taking too much of my energy. And when we found this program that paid high ticket commissions, like literally we're talking, the very first referral I ever made was a almost $300,000 commission, took 5 minutes of my time. I didn't pay any money to be part of the program. The business that I referred didn't pay a dime up front, right? So it's a completely free program. And we said, you know what, this is a beautiful fit. Let's go all in with this. So it's a government grant essentially for business owners that did the right thing during COVID and paid their employees. So any business that has over 5 W-2 employees essentially can apply for this. But similar to doing your taxes, it's, you know, it's not an easy process to do yourself. So that's why you would hire a firm, you know, like the one we're partnered with, that are experts, been doing government grants for 15 years. And essentially, let's say you've got, I don't know, 50 employees, you come in, you qualify, you get an average, let's say, of $10,000 per employee. We're getting $500,000 literally into your pocket for free. You didn't pay us a dime. It didn't cost you money to call us. It didn't cost you money to qualify. And then, yes, of course, there's a fee, a contingency fee. If you do get the money, you pay us a percentage of that money for doing all the work. And it's just a beautiful business model. You know, we've got last week, a teacher, you know, on a Zoom was in tears, made $60,000 her first week. We had a guy refer one single business, make $110,000. Obviously, these aren't average commissions. These are the higher end, but, you know, we have over 25,000 people that are promoting this, and not a single one of them complaining because they didn't pay anything. It's a free program. So what's the worst case scenario? You don't refer a business, you know, you don't make any money. You wasted 5 minutes of your time. But if you do refer, then you can make a ton of money, essentially working again from Wi-Fi.
Dude, that's incredible. So, and you know, it's weird as we were talking, and it probably is stemming from you guys, because it seems like you guys and your partner are kind of the foundation of this. I think I've seen some posts on LinkedIn and other social medias about this program. So essentially, just to dive a little deeper into it, essentially what it is when COVID happened, they forced people not to work or something like that. So now the government is giving grants back to help out.
Actually, the opposite. So during COVID, there were two programs, right? The PPP loan, right, which 95% of businesses did, and there was a lot of fraudulent stuff happening there because it was a loan. You had to pay this money back. And then there was the ERC, which was a grant, right? But since PPP was so readily available and your banks were doing it and everybody was doing it, everybody went the PPP route. But under Trump administration, it was either or. So if you got PPP, you were now not eligible for ERC, right? What ended up happening about a year and a half ago is that this got amended. Like everything gets amended constantly. You know, you got to be an expert to be up to date. But essentially, what it said, or what Biden said, was that if you got PPP, you can still potentially qualify for ERC. You can get both, essentially, right? And they amended some of the rules behind it. So imagine 95% of businesses thinking, oh, I don't qualify. Their CPAs telling them that they don't qualify. Their CFOs telling them they don't qualify, but that they don't know that they remained open. They did the right thing during COVID, and they're essentially getting a portion of those payroll taxes paid back to them, right? So it's literally the government's way of saying, hey, thank you, Tyler, for staying open during the toughest time in American history, really. Here's a refund of something that you already paid. It's not a loan, right? So you're not having to pay it back. It's a grant, which is incredible, but not many people know about it. We're partnered with, they're either the first or second biggest firm in the nation, and they've done about 30,000 businesses. But just so you can kind of see how big this opportunity, between the like top 5 firms, they've maybe done 100,000 businesses. There are millions of businesses out there that still have not gotten or received this grant that belongs to them, right? If they qualify. Of course, there's going to be some businesses that, don't meet the requirements. They might not qualify, but if you do qualify, you're essentially getting between $10,000 to $26,000 per employee.
Dude, that's pretty sick. I mean, anybody listening, I don't think there's no reason not to sign up. And this is what's interesting is I'm sure, have you ever heard of Alex Hormozy?
Yep.
Okay. So, I realized after reading his book, $100 Million Offers, like why some of our offers worked so well in our business and why others didn't, right? He has like that formula in the book.
Right.
And essentially what I'm getting at here is it seems like what you guys and your partner are doing, like there's no risk, there's no time involvement. It's 5 minutes. They sign up, and if they come across a business that is that could use this, they just refer them to you, and then you guys handle it all, and then they get a cut. So it's like there's no risk, there's no time, and the likelihood of success is pretty high. So it's like, why? Like if you can make your offer something like this, you're gonna win.
I mean,
right?
It's beautiful, man. Wi-Fi money, we're big believers in just partnering with the best of the best, right? There's companies that hear about an opportunity and they say, and the thought ran across my mind, like, oh, I could just go hire accountants and I'll build my own ERC firm and, let me do this by myself to make more money. But then it's like, we have 2 years to do this, right? It ends April 2025. So I'm always a big believer of like, why don't I partner with a company that's been doing this for 15 years, that has hundreds of employees on payroll, that has done literally their first client was Rolex. They've worked with Uber, Miami Heat, Lakers. 500 of the Fortune 1000 companies have worked directly with this company. Why am I going to go try to reinvent the wheel? Why don't I stick to what I do best, which is marketing, driving traffic, and I drive traffic to this company and let them handle the files. And of course, there's, commissions, which is incredible. But that's where people overthink things. They think it's so hard to make money nowadays. They think if you're an entrepreneur, I have to go build this giant structure and an LLC and hire a ton of employees. Like, no, grow your Instagram account and plug into one of these opportunities. Make one single post. Hey, which one of my followers has over 5 W-2 employees, right? Or maybe what you're seeing in LinkedIn. I mean, dude, we have an army, right? The company as a whole has about 40,000. We have about 25,000 of those that belong to Wi-Fi Money organization that are going door to door. They're doing LinkedIn. They're doing cold calls, cold emailing, right? Like who doesn't own a business and who doesn't want this money? And like I mentioned, before I joined any opportunity, because in the past I've been burnt, right? I've referred business to another company. They haven't done a good job. It's out of my control and it's shitty. Right. But with this, I'm like, what was the worst case scenario? I refer you, Tyler. Let's say you've got 50 employees, like I mentioned. You hop on the call. You didn't qualify for whatever reason, or you don't get the money. You're going to be like, Alex, I'm pissed. You wasted 5 minutes of my life. But that's about it. You didn't pay a dime. There's no upfront fees. There was nothing.
Yeah, you can live with that. I can live with the 5 minutes. And no, you're right. And I think that's actually something I learned from reading 4 Hour Workweek like 12 years ago when I dropped out of college. Is he has this thing in the book where he talks about run through your mind the worst case scenario, right? Because a lot of times our decision-making skills are just, they're not accurate. Like we're not thinking correctly, and we don't rationalize things effectively, meaning like, like this, like risk and reward. A lot of times it's like, okay, dropping out of school seems risky. It's not that risky. It's really not. You can go back. Exactly. But at the time it seems so you really need to run through your mind like worst case scenario. And just like you, I grew up like great family. So my worst case scenario was like, okay, I go back to my parents and live like this Billy Madison life. And I was like, not that bad. I think I can handle that. So it's like, but at the time though, I was thinking about my reputation and like all the like people would think I'm stupid or whatever, just like crazy shit. But at the end, it wasn't that bad. So I just think people sit down and run through that kind of formula of what's the worst case scenario.
I mean, it's just like yes and no. But like I agree with you 100% because I think it is important, especially as you grow in business. When you get offered so many things of like, am I okay with the worst case scenario? And if I'm not okay with the worst case scenario, then I'm out. Right. Like when I make all these crazy ass crypto investments, I'm like, oh, 500,000 for this fucking whatever sperm coin. Like, like if I win, it might be a coin. I don't know if I invested in that one.
I think it does.
I'm like, if I win, I'm going to fucking make 20 million. But if I lose, I lose 500,000. Am I okay with that? Is it going to keep me up at night? Am I going to cry about it? Yep. Probably not. Okay, then I'm comfortable doing it. If I know it's going to hurt me, if I know it's going to affect me, then I don't do it. But when you're first getting started, and if there's any young entrepreneurs listening to this, you just got to go all in. Like you can't sit there and make a flow chart of like pros and cons. Like you better believe that when I first got my $199, like I called that moment. I'm like, I quit my job. I immediately created a website. I immediately started marketing. Like I always like to say, like you jump off the building without the parachute or with the parachute and figure on the way down how to work it. Like not just, I'm going to sit there and check everything off because there's other people that are hungrier than you that aren't going to be checking everything, that are going to jump faster than you, and they're going to get to the prize before you. And maybe it's not going to be there anymore. Like everybody, especially nowadays, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to make money online, and it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher to make money online, not like it was in 2017. So to all the younger individuals listening, like you have to take risks. Like you have to go all in and not just be like, oh, but my job pays me this much, so I'm going to be there 9 to 5, and then I'm going to work 2 hours on this side hustle, but then I got to sleep my 8 hours because I love fitness. Like it's got to be like, fuck this, I'm all in, and I'm going to achieve my goal no matter what.
I agree. And I think too, it is being okay with like, not everything's so perfect, right? Like for me, even though, yes, I had like a good foundation with my parents, I remember thinking when I first visited San Diego, I realized I was like, I would rather live as a homeless person on the beach here than work in a corporation wearing a suit and tie every day. And when that fully clicked, I was like, dude, I got to go for like, again, it felt like a big risk at the time, but in reality, it was like going back to my parents or living on a beach. I guess homeless is not the best thing in the world, but like it just was like, I wasn't willing to like go the normal path or just like accept decency. Right. And I think a lot of people, they're afraid because they have that $3,000 a month coming in, it's covering their rent and all these things, and they're afraid to shift. And it's like, dude, well, you're never going to get to where you want to be if you're afraid to.
How can you possibly be happy? Right. And again, the big discussion is, does money buy happiness? No, but freedom, in my opinion, does. Money buys freedom, and freedom brings happiness. But like there's times like, dude, the office, I don't go to the office every single day, but our office is 20 minutes away now from before, because of traffic. Before it was like 3 minutes. And when I sit 20 minutes in traffic and I get to the office and I'm in meetings all day, and then I drive 20 minutes back, like I'm so drained. And I think of people that do that every single day, driving sometimes an hour to sit there to have your boss fucking scream at you. Like what I do is fun. Like we have Ty Lopez in the office. We have Kevin O'Leary the other day. Like it's draining, but it's fun. And it's tiring, but the people that they're doing something every single day just because they're comfortable, they can't be happy, bro. You gotta go for it. And if you strike out, it is what it is. At least you tried, and then you gotta try again. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, then you just keep trying, dude. And eventually, I do think if you put in, and I actually just watched this little Ty Lopez clip on TikTok the other day, and he was talking about how it is about how hard you work, but now with like AIs and stuff, it's more about finding the AIs and the softwares, because not one person could ever do what an AI could do as far as like the follows, unfollows and stuff. Yes, you can spend 20 hours. And at that time, that was probably the best way to do it because the AI didn't exist then. But now with everything, so you got to like, if you're not looking at the AIs or the techs or the softwares and stuff to grow your company, you're going to fall behind. Like it's inevitable because they're like 10 humans.
You have to like nowadays, everything is technology, right? Like I was just on a call with a lawyer, you know, seemed pretty successful, but he said his competitor is doing like 10 times what he's doing. And I asked him why. And he's like, oh, because he's got an Instagram and he's verified and he's got 2 million followers. And I'm like, why aren't you doing that? He's like, I'm just a little lazy. I don't know if I want to. But I'm like, dude, you could literally 10x everything you're doing just by having a damn Instagram account. Like you said, get some AI to write your captions, get an assistant to post your posts, get someone to help you, like spend money on campaigns. It's not hard, especially nowadays. It's not hard with all the technology. Like I always think about like back in like when my dad was my age, like how the fuck would you do business?
I know, dude. It was
like
so
how like you literally had to go in person. Like, for example, we're talking about Ty Lopez here. Dude, Ty literally flew in from Sweden because I sent him a message on Instagram. Yo, you got to check out the CRC opportunity. Fly in, blue. He flew in, meeting 30 minutes, boom. Now we Zoom, you know, once a day or once every couple of days. Back then it was like, how the fuck do I even contact him? Like, how do I get him here? Like, and then once he's out of the office, what do I do? Like, I fucking send mail his way. Like, it's so easy to make money nowadays. Back then, like, those are the true VIPs. The two MVPs are the ones that were making money back then. Now it's easy, bro.
Dude, I agree. Yeah. When people say it's like too hard now, I'm like, dude, before the internet and stuff, like imagine if like the only way to contact people is not like, and I actually in college, I did door-to-door sales, which I think that benefited me in so many ways. Cause it's like, okay, rejection and stuff. And like in sales, like people are afraid to hear the word no. It's like, dude, guess what? The way to success, you hear the word no 95% of the time, but that 5% is a couple million a month or whatever you get to. So that's just the reality.
Sales is the most important thing any entrepreneur can have. I don't care what anybody says. Sales is number one. You got to know how to sell. You got to know how to market yourself. You know, like you said, if you have the balls to walk into a restaurant and sell ERC, or, you know, if you have the balls to knock on someone's door and try to sell them something, like, dude, when I first met Chris, and it wasn't really selling, but we were part of this network marketing company, or he was, and he got me involved. I don't know if you ever heard of Kangen, where it's this like ugly, big square alkaline water filter, right?
Oh, okay.
Very first thing, it's a great product, right? It really is. I still use it today, but the very first thing that I had to sell was calling my friends, business partners, family, and convincing them to buy a damn fucking little white thing that will filter their water to make them feel better, right? That's what I'm having to peddle here in the beginning. So once I got to something like ERC, right, that it's like, hey, you want this money or not? Like, it becomes so much easier. So as an entrepreneur, if you can get out of your comfort zone and learn how to sell anything, you're going to be in a good position to make money.
100%. And it's also too, like, you can make yourself useful then for any business, right? It's not, if you're just like one subject matter expert, like, and again, like Facebook, I'm just using that as an example. That's great. But if you're good at sales, then you can sell Facebook ads, you can sell ERC, you can basically make yourself useful for any company. And that's what I was going to say. What's cool about Wi-Fi Money that I just realized is that the way you guys have branded it, you are able to pivot actually very easily, right? Because it's like, and I know you still do Instagram, but let's just say you decided not to. It doesn't matter because the ERC thing still qualifies under the umbrella of Wi-Fi Money. So you can pivot as long as it's anything making money online. Wi-Fi Money makes sense, right?
Exactly, bro. Like, did I ever think? I remember when I created the brand Wi-Fi Money, because we already had a pretty big business, but really no brand for people to relate with, and it was like 3 a.m. in Ecuador. I was out there and I was just tossing and turning, like, I have to brand this, we got to go to the next level. And then the word Wi-Fi money, I'm like, I love that. Let me look it up. And I got open my computer, and I'm blind. I wear contacts. So I have the computer like this. I'm looking up the URL to see if it's available. And it was like $9,000. And back then I wasn't making that much money, but I was like, screw it. Boom. I smashed it. I bought it. And that was just how it was born. But back then when I did that, did I ever think that we were going to be in like government grants or, soon to be real estate? Or no, I thought we were going to be like selling followers and doing the, social media stuff for the rest of my life. But as an entrepreneur, you got to pivot. Like we had a team in Colombia, great people, and they still do a lot of the follower stuff. And I was having a conversation with him and he was like, Alex, what do I do? Business is really slow. And I was like, bro, I've been telling you for years, you have to innovate. You have to pivot, right? That doesn't mean you have to get distracted and chase the next shiny object, right? But you got to innovate, because now all of a sudden everybody and their mothers has followers. So it's not as impressive. So now you got to give them another service. You got to be able to offer them something different. And that's why, like you mentioned, Wi-Fi money is an umbrella to really do anything. Like, who knows where we'll be in the future, as long as we're teaching and helping people to make money online.
So that leads to my next question is, and I think in today's world, because everything's moving so fast, it's kind of hard to think out. I think past even like 2 years is kind of a lot, but do you guys have any plans? Like you said, real estate, I think too, is there something after ERC that you're planning, or are you like laser focused and then you'll kind of figure it out and pivot, once you get there?
Well, the next 2 years is laser focused. I love this program because we're genuinely helping so many people. We've got all these Facebook groups, and every single day people just posting like, and not just posting like, hey, I made an extra $500. Like we had 3 girls, like single moms, yesterday posting in the group. They're like this little group of moms that are constantly working together. And they're like, one of them made 77,000. The other one made like 65,000. The other one like 27 for the month.
Yes.
For the month, dude. Like what profession makes $70,000 a month? Like some doctors don't make that kind of money. Right. So it is so rewarding, and they didn't pay a dime to be a part of it. Right. And they made that money by helping all these businesses who now love them for helping them get that money. So, it really has been our focus here and it probably will be for the next 2 years. But, we're heavily invested in real estate. I definitely see a big play, in the real estate space. Honestly, like that's my goal moving forward. Like, I don't want to have any services where I'm charging people money. Like I want it to be, give free value. And then the way that I make money is if you produce, awesome, I get a piece of it. You make, everybody wins. Right. Because coming from the beginning of like having to charge people, like, and them complaining and headaches, and, people are like, oh, you're a scammer, when all you try to do was help them. It's just annoying. So now tasting the whole free program and helping people is incredible. We'll probably stick to something similar like this.
Yeah, dude, I love that. That's actually, just to go back to Hermosi for a second, I feel like that's kind of what he's built, right? I mean, he's got a book that's 99 cents, but ultimately he's built himself like this funnel of, it's all just like super valuable content. It's all free. And then if your business is doing a couple mil, you can reach out to him through his website. And then he might, if it's a good fit, he'll become a partner and take a little piece. Right. And it's just this win-win the whole way up. And then, so you said Grant Cardone too, like we actually, Sandy Glant, we did her book, if you're familiar with her. So, is that kind of the model then you guys are going after? Meaning like just get a lot of doors, like apartment complexes like that, or is it like a different strategy?
No, I mean, it potentially would be. And again, this isn't something that's set in stone. Right. It should be something, because, I've got a couple of things that people don't know about that we'll share on the next podcast. Okay, cool. that really worked out for me. But I always do that, right? For about 2 years, I test something out. If I can make a ridiculous amount of money with something, then I roll it out and I say, hey, this is what I've done for the last 2 years. ERC wasn't like that, because there was nothing, like it was essentially free. Like, try this out. And if it works, it works, right? But I've heavily invested in a few things that have worked really well for me. It isn't exactly what Grant does, but I would potentially like to do something like that where people can invest alongside with you on projects, or like you said, they apply and then I buy a piece and work together with them and just have more fun, dude. Like, I've worked so hard for the last 5 years of non-stop, just every single day, bro, that I just want to get to a place, and I know I'm still young, but get to a place where I have all the money invested. It's making me great passive income. If I don't want to work, I never have to work, but then I dedicate my time to genuinely helping people. And because there's nothing more rewarding. Like, we've got a couple, like Chris Casey, who's our COO. He was literally, his 9 to 5 was working for a newspaper. And then, he made like $3-4 million with us last year. Right. So it's crazy. Like, we have this girl from Nebraska. I think it's Nebraska. She lives in a town of 300 people, dude. 300 people. And there's one street in her town. And now she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month with us. And seeing the impact you have, not on just her, but her family, her future kids, like that kind of stuff is what really gets me excited. The making money part, like once you hit a certain number of income, like what's the difference with making $4 million a month and making, 6.2 million? Like, yeah, it's significantly more money, but is that really going to change my lifestyle? Not really, man, unless you jump up to the billions and I get a fucking $400 million yacht. Like, but that shit just doesn't bring happiness. It brings more problems. So, my goal has always been 100 million invested, producing cash flow for me. And then I just focus on helping people.
Dude, yeah, I agree. And it's interesting because I agree with your comment on the money and freedom. And I saw Pitbull, he says this in some interview. He's like, people that say that money doesn't buy happiness haven't given enough away yet. And it's actually what you're saying. You just didn't say it exactly like that. Yeah. Because what you're kind of saying is like, once I'm at that 100 million, I'm going to let that flow. And then my core focus will just kind of be philanthropic, right? Like that's basically,
dude, there's something about giving money away to people that is just so incredible. Like, one of the things that when I travel is, like, last trip, we were just talking about that Asia trip. On that trip, I think I took like $28,000 in cash. And I don't even show this. Like, I maybe posted one person. Like, I don't even feel the need to post this. Like, yeah, it's in some of my YouTube videos and it's cool to show because it motivates people. But like, I just love, like, you can feel someone's energy when they're good. Like, so especially like when you travel and you stay at these hotels and, they're 5-star or whatever, sometimes 7-star hotels, people are just humble and so over the top nice with you. Like our tour guides, like I was just watching, we went to this crazy elephant hotel in Thailand where every morning you wake up, have breakfast with elephants and go walking with them. And it's just insane. But our tour guide, he was just the nicest human being. Like, he showed me pictures of his family. Like, he's living literally like in a hut. So just like the last day, he gave him like $7,000, right? Or when we went, the dude was just like, didn't even know what to do with his life, right? In Cambodia, our tour guide for all the temples was this guy that was in the Vietnam War, lost his entire family, I guess, in like a bomb that they dropped, whole village destroyed. He then went to the military, was in the military for like 7 years. He ate snakes and rats and whatever he could find in the jungle, slept on a hammock for, 4 or 5 years of his life. And now humbly doing tour guides for this hotel. I know he's not getting paid that well, probably made like $20 on our tour. Same deal. Gave him, I didn't give him that much, but I only had like $1,000 cash. Gave it to him and I gave him a hug. And it's crazy. This guy to this day will write me for Christmas, Thanksgiving. The other day he wrote me just, thinking of you, Alex, hope all is well, because it wasn't even the money. Like, his message he sent me after was like, Alex, nobody in my life has ever given me a hug. And I was like, holy shit, I just gave this guy $1,000. And the very first thing he thought about, like, nobody like has ever given me a hug, like just hugging the guy changed his life. So when you start getting those stories and you feel that, like, it's incredible. So both helping people by, being entrepreneurs, but then I just want to have an obscene amount of money to give away, bro. Like, I want to be that guy that'll tip the valet guy like $5,000 just for, for the fucking hell of it. Like, it's just incredible, dude. Like, sometimes I'll see somebody on the street, I'm like, man, that guy looks like a tough day. Like, boom, hand him cash. Like, it feels so good, bro. Like, that's, to me, is happiness.
Dude, definitely not. Like I watch a lot of Jordan Peterson content. He's that you probably heard of him, psychologist, pretty famous author. And dude, he on stages, he cries all the time because he's just like, the thing is with like the help, and his isn't necessarily in like giving money, but more so just like he's helped a lot of I think girls too, but I guess mostly guys, they say, become more motivated, successful, however you want to word it. That, he'll just walk down the street and he'll have like hundreds of people come up to him and just tell him the story of like who they were before they encountered his work, and then how they implemented his work, and then how they are now. And dude, you can't even pay for that type of feeling. Like, that doesn't exist. Like, meaning like it's not something for purchase, like it's something earned, right? And it's incredible.
It's awesome, man. And for everyone listening, like, if they just think that stacking cash and, listen, you got to be greedy in the first couple of years. You got to go crazy. You got to stack cash. You got to feel good about it and make your money, right? And be aggressive about it. But I remember a really good friend of mine, mentor Peter Taunton. He was a founder of Snap Fitness, sold it for, I think, 9-figure exit.
Oh, he's on the podcast. I know him.
Yeah, he did. Great guy. He's incredible. I remember this like it was yesterday. We were talking about it, and he said, Alex, one thing that's going to happen in your life is, money isn't necessarily going to solve any of your problems. It's actually going to make all your problems that much more sophisticated and then that much harder. And I was thinking about that today. I had like 4 calls, like 4 hours just today, literally, with like my trust, my estate lawyers, like tax attorneys, like, and you're just thinking like, dude, my life was so simple when I sold that girl that $199. Like, dude, I was just like, I'm rich. Like, this is fucking awesome. Like, and now I'm like talking to tax attorneys and estate lawyers, and they're setting like this whole castle up with me with different layers and gift tax structure, and do this and do that and sign this and pay here and pay that. Like, on any given day, I'm spending fucking $25,000 in a day just for legal fees and, trust structures and just expenses. And the problems start getting so sophisticated. Right. So I guess my message in that is, and I'm happy. It's not like I enjoy it, but you just got to enjoy the journey. Like, every single step of the journey, from when you have $0, when you first close your first client, when you hit 10,000, don't get so caught up on when I hit this number, I'll be happy. I remember when I thought, like, when I have 10 million invested, like, I'm done working. I'm good. I got to 10 million invested, and now I'm just thinking like, fuck, that's not enough. Like, now I've got all these expenses. Now I've got this coming up. Now I've got the toys, the cars, the jet, like, but you just got to enjoy the journey, dude. Like, that's it. You just got to be happy every day, wake up and put a smile and just enjoy it.
Dude, yeah, I agree. So yeah, dude, what I want to do, I want to just leave the floor to you. If there's anything we didn't cover that you want to share, please do. And then let people know how to connect with you. Really enjoyed the conversation, dude. Thanks for coming on. But yeah, floor is yours.
I think a cool story that I don't know you'll enjoy, but I know that on past podcasts, people have loved this. They always ask me about this. Yeah. So it was how my business partner and I, how we got the jet, because we got a jet, what was it, a year, 2 years ago?
Okay,
yeah, 2 years ago. And how that whole thing happened, right? Because it kind of went from, 0 to 100 in purchasing this jet. And a lot of people reached out to us and asked us about it. But essentially, Chris and I were flying nonstop on jets all the time and chartering them. And dude, it is so expensive to charter jets. I remember one time during Medellin, we chartered one in Medellin. It was like $60,000 there and back. When we got on JetBlue for a couple $100, like, it was ridiculous.
Like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah. And I remember we're going to Tennessee, and again, it was like a $30,000 flight for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, Chris, like, you really want to spend this money, bro? Like, I'm going JetBlue. I don't care. I'm not spending that money. But the jet was sick. Like, it has this beautiful white interior, like super badass. And he goes, why do we keep spending money on charters? Like, imagine how much the owner of this jet's making. I'm like, I never thought about it like that. He's like, you know what, Alex? He's like, let's buy this jet. And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean we're going to buy this jet? He's like, no, let's buy this exact jet. I'm like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, I got all nervous, right? And he just gets shit done. We literally that second we got on the call with the charter company. We're like, hey, we don't want to charter this jet. We want to buy it. And they're like, haha, it's not for sale. We're like, no, we're serious. We'll wire cash tomorrow. Like, we don't even know how much this thing is worth, right? We're just telling them, we'll wire tomorrow, tell the owner. They're like, nah, not going to happen. We're like, whatever. I'm a big believer in God. You know, that's how I grew up. I believe everything happens for a reason and in his perfect timing. And within 48 hours, we get a call back from them. And they're like, you guys will not believe what happened. We didn't say anything to the owner, but the owner literally just asked us that we should put the jet on the market just to test the waters and see what happens. And right away, we told them that we had these two crazy, back then I was 29 years old, these 20-year-olds trying to buy the jet cash. And the owner got all nervous. And long story short, dude, it was the fastest ever plane acquisition. It was a Monday where we saw it and we called the charter company. On Friday, we had purchased the jet and we were flying to Turks and Caicos for Chris's birthday. And no due diligence, nothing. We just like smashed the wire and did it. And I guess my message with that story, other than it being a really cool story, is that that's what got me to where I am today, right? Just making these quick decisions, going all in every single decision I take. And yes, you're going to lose a lot by doing this, right? More than the person that studies every little thing. Like I bet you if I would have done all the due diligence in the world and known how much it was going to cost, like, dude, we pay our pilots a $250,000 a year salary, right? Like if I would have known those things, I probably would not have taken that decision. But that purchase took us to the next level, right? We attracted that level to us. And it's because we take immediate action. It's because we take massive risks. And yes, I've lost 80, 90% of the time I lose. That's facts. And in investments, not to mention crypto. On crypto, I'm 100% failure rate. in other, you just lose. But the times you win, those are the ones that are going to define you, and those are the ones that take you to the next level. So for everyone listening, don't be afraid to take massive risks. Go all in, whatever it is. It might not be the jet. Maybe it's something smaller for you. Maybe it's a vacation. Maybe it's buying your wife, your girlfriend something, your son, taking him on a vacation. Like those little things, make such a difference in your life.
Dude, yeah, I agree. And just ask this question because I had a memory. Were you the one that was Steve will do it, needed a plane? Was that you?
Bro. So listen to this. You want to know how I got into this new ERC opportunity? That's literally like, we're on track to make 9 figures with this. Yeah. How we got involved was because I gave my jet to Steve will do it. So Steve will do it, somebody that I really look up to because of the gift, right? Because he gives and gives, and he's such a genuine guy, and didn't even have a relationship with this guy. I just DM'd him and I said, hey, Steve, I recently got a jet. If you ever want to use it for anything, let me know. And that was my message to him, right? A month goes by, nothing. 2 months goes by, nothing. 3 months goes by. I wake up Friday and it's a message. Yo, Wi-Fi, are you serious about the jet? I'm like, yeah, man, what do you need? He goes, I need to go to New York tomorrow for the UFC fight. I was like, done deal. I called my pilots. They were on a charter, paid them extra to go pick them up, like all in the whole ordeal to pick them up, wait for him over the weekend, pay hotels for the pilots, bring them back. Then I picked up the Nelk boys from Mexico. Then I picked up 6ix9ine, the rapper from New York. Dude, I spent like $100,000 in expense for these guys. And I genuinely didn't expect anything back. It wasn't like I told Steve, like, hey, listen, I'm going to pay this and you shout me out, or you do this or you do that. Nothing, dude. Of course, being the guy that he is, he was like, oh, Wi-Fi money, I'm on his jet. This guy's the man, blah, blah, blah. And it landed me hundreds of thousands of followers, one of which was the guy that introduced me to the ERC opportunity that now is going to potentially make me 9 figures, right? So it's like, because I had the guts, because I had the balls to not only let someone borrow my jet, but spend that money in doing so, my ROI was 100, 1,000x on the money I spent.
Dude, that's amazing.
Everybody follows Steve will do it. That was the craziest part. Everybody fucking like, were you the guy that gave Steve the jet?
Yeah. I started to connect the dots there, and I was just like, I think he's the guy that did that.
I was the guy, dude. I was the guy, and I did it several times. The Nelk boys put me on their Instagram. They're like, boys, go tell Wi-Fi Money to send the jet. And dude, I got like these guys have an army, bro, like an army. Where they were like, yo, go hit them up. So my Instagram blew up. And again, it's just energy, man. Like when you do good things and you give, guess what? You're going to get it back, right? That's whether you believe in God or Buddha or whatever you believe in. I believe in energy. And whenever you're not afraid, like when money's energy, right? So when you let it flow, especially when you let it flow out, it flows back in. That's why all the people that count every single penny and don't want to spend any money and are afraid, like, oh no, I made 10,000 last month. I don't want to go on that trip. I don't want to invest in my Instagram account. I'm afraid. Well, guess what? Money is going to be afraid to flow back in your life. So there's a reason why you don't level up. And my Lambo, right? I literally had $100,000 to my name. And I said, I need to make a bold move so people can believe in what I'm doing. I took $83,000 and I put down payment on a Lamborghini. I got the Lambo. I drove the Lambo that whatever, it was like a week or so. I was the brokest motherfucker with a Lambo. I had $17,000 in my bank account, but I had a fucking Lambo, dude. And then guess what? Next month I made 30,000. The one after that, 50,000, then 70,000. I made back the entire Lambo in 45 days. And that's what propelled me to that 100K month. And I'm not saying fake it till you make it. For me, it wasn't to, I wouldn't lie to people like I'm a multimillionaire, check me in my Lambo. I'd tell people this story, but it just attracted so many high level people into my life that the $17,000, like this is a true fucking story. I still have the screenshot of my bank account, 17 grand driving a Lambo. I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pay the financing next month. Like if my business doesn't grow, I'm done. But because I took that massive risk is what led me to that next level. And then I started feeling comfortable again. I got a McLaren. I started feeling comfortable again. I got the jet. Started feeling comfortable. Now I got something else I'm announcing here soon. Like it's just constantly making myself level up to where I see my competitors, where I see other people hoarding the money and scared to spend it.
Dude, yeah, that's a huge lesson right there. That's incredible. Yeah, when you tell the jet story, you should say it all the way to this point because that's the full story, right?
Yeah, like, then I gave it to Steve. Then I did this. Like it's been sick, man. We've had a bunch of celebrities on there. We do some meetings, like whenever we're trying to win over a massive affiliate, right? That I know can make us tens of millions of dollars. What better than being like, hey, yo, our jet's going to pick you up tomorrow, like, and fly you in for a quick meeting. Like, they're like, shit. All right. These guys are serious. Right. Yeah. So it was definitely the best decision. Now it brings so many headaches. Don't even get me started. Like last year, we spent like 150 grand on new windshields. Something happened to the engine. Our Wi-Fi every single month is $5,000 a month. Like this is like a big boy expense, like big boy expense. But because we decided to do that, it's brought again big energy. People to our lives. Yeah,
dude, 100%. Dude, that's incredible. So wait, tell me what's your Instagram? It's just Wi-Fi Money.
So yeah, if someone looks up Wi-Fi Money on Instagram, I'm verified. It's actually A Moeller, my last name, AMOELLER. I need to change that. I need to be Wi-Fi Money because everybody's like, A Moeller, what's that? Like it's my last name. It's how I started. I don't feel like changing, but if they literally look up Wi-Fi Money, it's the only verified account. And that's where I do all my business. So if anybody ever wants to, chat with me or send me a message, whatever, reach out to me on DM. And I'm more than happy to work with them and help them out.
Perfect, man. Dude, thanks again for coming on. This was all awesome episode. Appreciate it.
You're the man, dude. We got to do a jet trip and hang out in Colombia. Whenever you're back, bro, let's hang out.
Done deal.